agree with and some that you don't, but the receptivity to my speech was really great. And somebody said that was the best ovation by far, and I'm very happy to hear that.
What did you say? We were waiting for you up here.
You must be kidding. I'm not doing the speech again.
Mr. Trump, what's your opinion of the Iowa caucus process? And if you do in fact run, what's your strategy here? You're a pretty busy guy. Are you going to be here frequently?
I would be here frequently. I have a great opinion of Iowa, and the caucus are fine. That's what they do. That's the game, and that's the way it's played, and that's fine with me. I have a tremendous, as you see from the audience, I have a tremendous relationship with the state of Iowa, and I would be here a lot.
Mr. Trump, you spoke about Social Security in your speech.
Yes.
About strengthening it. Pardon me. What would you do to do that? Would you support
You have to make the country,
privatizing or
yeah. You have to
Medicaid
make,
vouchers?
yes, you have to make the country strong so that they can afford these programs. Right now, our country is a debtor nation. You have to make our country strong so that you don't have to cut Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. You have to make our country strong. Our jobs are disappearing. They're all being taken out. The 5.6 number is fiction. It's probably 21%, the real number. The underemployment is through the roof. You have to make our country strong again so that you can afford Social Security and other great programs, including taking care of the military and the vets.
Mr. Trump, right now the U.S. Department of Agriculture has a very active role in promoting rural Iowa. It goes beyond just biofuels to, for example, low-interest loans and
Right.
grants that are provided to rural hospitals to help sort of prevent some of the population loss from rural to urban and suburban Iowa.
Right.
Do you support an active U.S. Department of Agriculture?
Well, I really support your governor. I think he's terrific. I think Terry has done an amazing job here, and I got to know him very well over the last couple of years. And what he wants to do, and the head of the Department of Agriculture is Bill, tremendous guy, so they know what they're doing, and I support what they're doing.
Did you just fire Mitt Romney and Jeb Bush?
Well, I just don't think they can win. Mitt had his chance. In my opinion, it was an easier race than the one coming up. He should have won, and he choked. And you don't want to give a choker a second chance. I know that from sports. And you just don't want to give that person a second chance. And he shouldn't be running. As far as Jeb is concerned, we've had enough with the Bushes. And his attitude on Common Core, his attitude on immigration, his attitude, frankly, on a lot of things is not going to be a winning formula. So I don't think they're going to win. They're well known right now. They're two big names. They'll probably do well, but I think ultimately they'll both fail, and I think they'll absolutely lose to the Democrat if they got in.
Mr. Trump.
Well, I do rule out some, but I won't say their names yet.
Mr.
I'll let you know. Believe me, I'll let you know.
Mr. Trump, what kind of an issue do you think Common Core will actually play in Republican primary process?
I think Common Core is a very big issue. It's a local subject, and it should remain a local subject. I think Common Core is a very big issue.
We're going to have hours and hours of speeches from these potential candidates trying to differentiate themselves. What would be your advice to how they should tactically do that?
Well, my advice to them is to talk about how we make our country great again, and they're not talking about that.
Sir, your perceived expertise would be in finance. What comments do you have on the national debt, and what would you do to
Well, I think
fight that?
my expertise is in jobs, in finance, and in building, because I have built some of the great buildings, and they've been tremendously successful, and they've been great. And when a market turned, I made them successful anyway, through guile and through whatever it is. And so I've had tremendous success in real estate, as you've seen by my financial statements, and as you've seen, perhaps you heard, in the Obama administration, in the most sought-after development, as I understand it, in the history of the GSA, the old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue, best location, best everything, Trump got it. How do you figure that one? Trump got it, and I started construction 4 weeks ago. It's going to be a phenomenal success, and I got it. I'm a builder. What I do best is build. And the reason I got it is because I had the best statement, I can get it done, and I had the best project. And it's going to be a great thing. So you need a builder because our infrastructure is crumbling. You need somebody that knows how to get things done, how to get things built, what to do. I mean, I can tell you that I have people that will build buildings for 2 or 3 or 4 times more money than me or somebody that knows what they're doing. And those buildings won't be as good as what we do. And then they understand, they say, well, why did Trump succeed and we failed? One thing like the Wallman Rink in Central Park. 8 years, $21 million by the Koch administration, and they couldn't get it built. And I went to see Ed Koch, and I said, Ed, let me do it. I can get this thing done fast. And I said, and if it costs 1 penny over $2 million, I'll pay for it myself. And I got it done for $1.4 million. 1.4, and I got it done in 3 months. This was under construction for 8 years. They didn't know what they were doing. I have another one now in the Bronx where I did the same thing with a big golf project. It's been under construction for 20 some odd years. It's a catastrophe. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I took it over a year and a half ago. It's ready to open.
Mr. Trump.
It would have never opened. And I tell you something, the country is easier. It's actually easier because we have such power and such potential wealth. We can fix this country, we can fix the infrastructure of the country, and we have to start doing it quickly. When I see in Ohio and other places bridges collapsing, and that's just the beginning, because 69%, and one report said 80% of the bridges are in terrible shape and dangerous shape. So you need somebody that knows what they're doing. And one other thing, I deal with foreign countries all the time. I made a lot of money against China, and I will say against China. I made a lot of money dealing against China. And I made a lot of money dealing against other countries. I'm doing jobs in Europe, I'm doing jobs in Dubai, I'm doing jobs all over Asia, and they're very successful. And I deal with the politicians, and I deal with the heads of those states, and I get along with them great. And we come out on top. You need somebody that can do that.
Would you take America back into another ground war against
No.
ISIS?
Say what?
Would you take America back into another ground war?
Well, we have to do something about ISIS. When they're cutting off people's heads right in front of us and taunting us, somebody has to be very, very strong against ISIS and Islamic terrorism. Somebody has to be very, very strong, or it's only going to get worse, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Mr.
Yes.
Trump, how come you've never built anything well-known in Iowa? Are we too small for your company?
Well, I love Iowa. It could happen. I actually did look at a couple of things in Iowa, believe it or not. But Iowa, last night I gave a speech at the expo, the big Farmland Expo, and it was terrific. And they set every record. They had the biggest crowd they've ever had, standing room only. People couldn't get in the room, and we all had a great time. You know, I have great respect for Iowa and the people of Iowa.
Do you think you might mistake or might be at risk of mistaking people's interest in you with political viability? People have no.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I do think this. Over the years, a lot of people have wanted me to run because I have a certain attitude, and I have been a winner, and I've made a lot of it. And in my business, it has been computers where you come up with a dating site and you sell it for $400 million. You know, with me, it's been real estate, which is like the old-fashioned way. And nobody's done it, or very few people have done it better, believe me. And I do think that over the years, they've wanted me to run. I love what I'm doing, and I hadn't wanted to run. I never said I was going to run. But I looked at it, in particular the last time, I decided not to. I think if I said I was going to, because I had people last night say, we're with you all the way if you announce you're actually running. And a lot of people say, if you actually announce you're running, you're going to go through the roof. I don't know, maybe that's true, maybe it's not. All I know is I know all these people. I'm the one person that can make this country great again. That's all I know. I can make this country great again. Nobody else can.
If America needs a President Donald Trump, then why aren't you already in the race? What's keeping you out?
Well,
what factors
I'll
are
be
you
doing it.
considering?
If I do it, I'll be doing it in the not too distant future, probably before June.
What's part of your decision process? I mean, what's going to make you get in?
Not
or stay
too much. Last time I had contractual obligations with NBC. I had a lot of, you know, you have a lot of different laws, rules, regulations. I did have contractual obligations. I was also building all over the world. My kids, my children were younger. Now my children are all very good executives. They're doing a great job. Ivanka, Don, Eric, my 3 oldest children. I have some great executives in place. So last time would have been very much harder. You know, when a politician runs for office, they can run for office. What do? They do nothing. They run. All they do is run. If they win, great. If they lose, great. They'll run again. With me, it's a big commitment. And I love what I'm doing. And the tremendous success of The Apprentice may have been a reason. I got a call from the head of NBC. They want to know, can they extend this series because it's, you know, it's over in 2 weeks, and they want to know, can we make it 4 more weeks because it does so good? And you know, there's a lot of good feeling out there. But the last time I had contractual obligations and I was building all over the world. Now I have a great team in place, including my children in particular, and I'm really a free agent. The Apprentice ends, which is a contractual obligation. you know, you have the equal time problem, where if you have a major show, you're not allowed to run. Essentially, if I ran, that would mean that Rick Santorum and everybody else running would get 2 hours on primetime NBC. I don't think NBC's going to be happy with that, but you never know. I'll have to ask. But I love the country. The country has great potential, and it can be great again.
What separates you from any the other potential Republican candidates?
I think my ability. I think my ability. I've just done well. I've had many, many, many wins. And I've had very few losses. And when I have a loss, I turn it around into a win. You know, a lot of times you have to be able to turn it around into a win because the economy crashes. Not my fault if the economy crashes. But I've done some of my best deals when the economy crashed. And I was in trouble. And I turned it around into a better deal than if the economy stayed good. So you have to be able to be nimble and know what you're doing. All right, how about one
Mr.
more
Trump.
question?
One other question. One of the frequent areas of compromise that Senator McConnell mentions is trade. Do you trust President Obama to give him the free trade authority?
No. President Obama is a horrible negotiator. Horrible. One of the worst ever. Look at Iran with the nuclear. We have sanctions in place. Iran is reeling from the sanctions, from years of sanctions. They're really now. They come to him and say, we're not going to negotiate with you unless you take off the sanctions. It doesn't work that way. Frankly, you put them up stronger. So now we take off the sanctions. I've never seen anything like it. It's like I wrote the book, The Art of the Deal, which was, I guess, the biggest, or one of the biggest, but I think the biggest selling business book of all time. This is like 101. Why would you take off the sanctions off Iran? Like Iran, don't like Iran, like the country, it doesn't matter. Who would be so stupid as to take the sanctions off Iran when you're negotiating? So now what Iran is doing is tapping us along like a bunch of dopes. Just tap, 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 tap. Time. They're going further and further into their nuclear program. And guess what? Once they have those nuclear weapons, we can't really negotiate very well anymore.
But so you wouldn't support giving him fast track authority?
No. I would support having brilliant people do our trade agreements. Because I like fair and smart trade. Because every trade deal we make stinks. It stinks. I like fair trade and I like smart trade. You know, fair trade is good if you have smart people negotiating. And I would have the best because I know the best.
Thank you.
Okay?